Hey everybody, welcome to Spill the Novelty, where three girlies shout into the void about our latest book hot takes and obsessions. I'm Abby,
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kaylee.
and this week we're having a book format showdown. So we'll be talking about all things book formats. And for the record, audiobooks are real books, so if you're bringing any of that bullshit here, don't. And anyway, here's the tea.
Okay, so since you already brought up audiobooks, let's talk about audiobooks. So as you guys know, I listen to audiobooks a lot, but a little confession for me is that if I think I'm gonna like a book, I'll buy both the audiobook and the physical book. So I kind of like both. But oftentimes, like, I don't actually like the book, so I have to sell the physical book after that. So it's kind of a waste of time and money. But
Yeah, you're
anyway,
crazy for buying it before you finish a book. Because if I like a
I
book,
know.
I'll buy the physical copy, but like not before then, girl. No, not with my hater energy.
I know. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why do I do that? Anyway, so pros of audiobooks. Let's talk about it. So for me, it's convenience first and foremost.
For sure.
Because you can multitask, but a lot of times I will say that I end up having to rewind and listen all over again because I'm not paying attention, especially if like I'm scrolling my phone while trying to listen to the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I'm cleaning or something, I can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the task for me, but I have been big in my audiobook era recently of like just like anything just like with my hands. So yeah, cleaning, like coloring, maybe playing a game or something like that. I'm so jealous. I know I've had friends who can like yeah, listen to an audiobook like while they're doing another like really intensive mental task like doing something creative like at work or something like that, like not just doing spreadsheets, like something that not just like kind of a menial task where you can kind of do that, but can really get into like a creative space and do that. And I'm like, how? I love that for you. I'm so jealous.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it depending on the task.
Yeah, I definitely love the multitasking. It feeds my ADHD brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all know, recently we were reading a book and I had it on 2.5 times speed and was also playing like a very stimulating video game like right next to it on my
Chef's
monitor.
kiss.
Yeah, it was full stimulation zone. But I don't do that if I'm like actually really engaged in a book. Like I have to put more focus into the book if it's like I don't know, if I care about it more. But I do love like driving. Like when I had a long commute, like I ate up an
Mm-hmm.
audiobook because like there's just nothing better to do. Like you can only get so far with podcasts. So you got to do an audiobook.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
good point.
definitely.
Which, side note, have you guys heard that people listen to audiobooks and read another physical book at the same time? Because I discovered this on TikTok recently. Some people will read one book physically, read the physical book, and listen to another book as an audiobook at the exact same time.
Like in the exact same moment.
I don't believe
Yes.
them. There's no way they're getting both of the informations. There's
I'm
no
like, how
way.
is that possible?
This
It's
is a
like you're
lie.
lying.
Yeah, this is a lie. This is a lie. There's
If you do
no way.
And
that, please let us know.
like I almost always have background music going on in my head, but that's a separate
Yeah.
thing. I'm not
Yeah.
reading and like digesting, taking in those things at the same time. That's
Mm-mm.
wild.
Yeah, no, that's
They
crazy.
must be superhuman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
could
have
never.
like two words things going on at the same time. Like I could
Mm-mm.
I could listen to an audiobook and like draw, but I can't listen to an audiobook
Mm-hmm.
and write. Like cuz
Right.
the words get like crossed. So listening to an audiobook and
Mm-hmm.
reading, like that's crazy. It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. If you do that, you might be a superhero.
You might be. Or
Yeah.
you might be a liar.
Yeah. Facts. You might not be telling the truth. You might think that you're processing it, but let us give you that AR test at the end. Let's give you that
Literally.
accelerated reader test, and let's see. I want you
The
scoring 80 or
AR.
above. Yeah,
Not the
I don't.
AR
I don't
test,
believe you.
bro. Please, the
I
book
don't believe
fair.
you for a second.
Uh, okay. My favorite thing about audiobooks is that they are way more forgiving when the writer has like weird grammar or an odd writing style. There's a lot of that the narrator can just fix by reading it well. And I am like none the wiser until I'm like talking with like you guys, and you're like, I can't believe she like wrote it this way, and I'm like, wait, hold on, like what happened? How did she write that? That's crazy. What is this? Or if I ever have to switch to like read something really quick, and I'm like, we were living like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, it's too much.
Yeah,
spellings are kind of like that too. Like they sound kind of normal over the audiobook, and then you see how they spell it, and it's like they add so many extra letters, and you're like, oh my god.
No, literally.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll like a name the way that I think I'm hearing it, and then I'll read it, and I'll be like, ew. That happened with Serpent in the Wings of the Night, where I thought it was Araya with an A, but it was Oraya.
Oraya.
And I was I was like disgusted when I realized how her name was spelled, and it affected my like feelings towards the book because I was like, ew.
And on the flip side, it's like if I like when we read I'm not gonna remember the name of it. The one we read recently with Bjorn.
Blood.
A fate eaten in blood. Oops. And in hindsight, I should have listened to the audiobook more because I was just walking around, and it's a name I probably also like surely have heard somewhere at some point in other fantasy stuff. But I was like Bjorn, and everyone's like, no.
Bjorn, no.
Bjorn, no.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I mean, the flip side of that is that like if I listen to the audiobook, I'm anxious to like text about it because I never know how to spell anyone's names, and if you're always reading fantasy books, and I'm like, Marissa, if that is her real name. Like, I was so embarrassed. Like I have to look it up and be like, who is the main character and how do you spell it? Because it's never normal. It's never a clear.
No. Never. Yeah.
I guess one good thing about audiobooks is like you can tell if a book's dialogue is like really corny or bad easier because like it doesn't sound right. And that happened with Funny Story for me. That's how I realized the dialogue was so cringe, was because like it sounded cringe. Like it didn't sound like something a real human would say. But reading it, sometimes like you don't hear it the same way.
Yeah.
So like you don't notice it as bad, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. Because it can also like if the narrator is selected correctly, it can give a lot of personality to a character that isn't otherwise on the page. Like, if I think of the Six of Crows audiobook, which I know you guys haven't read, and one day I'll bully you into reading, but, like, the narrators they picked for those characters, like, they literally bring the characters to life because they sound so distinct and, like, I don't know. It just, like, fits so well. But, you know, I don't know. The flip side of that is, like, I've had some books where I've read the physical book and then I'll like go to listen to the audiobook and like they'll have like a British narrator for like no particular reason, but like it changes the vibes.
It takes you out of it so fast. Yeah, it really does.
I'm like, why is this? I will say though, like I like when it's like a culturally relevant thing. Like if there's other languages or something being spoken in the book, having a narrator that's like of that culture and can do that really well, that's fine. But it's mostly the Brits that take me off guard because I'm like, whoa, I didn't know this was like a Brit coded.
If you weren't expecting it, you're like, oh.
Yeah, like what is this Cockney accent happening? Like I didn't know this is where we were at.
You're like, okay, set the scene for us, babe.
Literally.
So one thing I love about audiobooks, but is also, very quickly a con, like we were talking about, depending on how well you process things auditorially, is it's great for quicker reading. And specifically, I think about this all the time because I didn't get into audiobooks until like after college. And I think about it now and I'm like, dude, it would have been a game changer for me if I knew I had a reading deadline coming up and I just started putting that shit on audiobook. I listened to it on the bus, just like, I don't know, doing other things in life that I missed out. So if you're in any sort of school and you haven't tried audiobooks, maybe try that and report back and let us know if that's the vibe. Because I wish I would have taken that up when I was younger. But it's also great for quicker reading. whether, you know, you have books to chat about with the gworls. I totally have not done this before where I put it on faster speed, but
Sure.
you know, use your discretion to make sure that you're actually processing it. But I do like that you can, you know, customize the reading speed and stuff. That's kind of fun.
Not Abby calling me out for reading a 12-hour book in 4.5 hours yesterday. That's crazy.
But you ate us up. But no, dude,
you did. You read it faster than me and Abby, and we had been reading it for a week.
Literally. I normally listen on like 2 times speed, I think is where I normally sit. But then when I found out you were going faster, I was like, shoot, I gotta up this.
I did up my speed when I found out too. I was like, okay, it's possible. It's possible.
2.7. Quick,
2.7.
Let's see.
Unhinged.
I didn't even know it could go that high.
Dude,
no, the Audible one. Yeah, what
serious?
Does the Audible one go up to? I swear it's like, I think it can go up to 3. I've done 2.75.
Libby shows you the range up to 2 times, but if you type in like 2.5, it'll let you go. It's crazy.
There she goes. You can go up to like a 3. You can't see that, but yeah. But it is fun. It's helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I also love it for kind of for like, I hate to say this, but like background books, like things that I know that I've been wanting to read, but that might not be my go-to. So thinking like different nonfiction, maybe classics that I feel like I should get around to reading at some point, but just hadn't yet. Like, I think it's kind of like a fun just thing to have, even if I'm reading a hardcover or Kindle book, just to have my little like go-to audiobook, maybe before bed or just for like little chill moments. So just a nice little way to catch up with your reading.
Yeah. And I do think, like, Abby, when you were mentioning, like, on the school bus and stuff, like, it would have changed your life. I think there's a lot of this is me getting on my, like, PTO mom?
PTA, right?
PTA.
Parent Teacher Association. Yeah, you got it.
Yes. And my PTA mom, like, soapbox, but I think there are a lot of people that aren't into books, for one, because they haven't found the right genre that they're interested in, but for two, because
so true.
It's like you have to sit still and read words on a page. And I think audiobooks becoming more and more popular make literature so much more accessible for people that need to be doing other stuff, or that don't have the best like reading comprehension, but they have better listening comprehension. There's so much about it that's made me have better listening comprehension, because when I first started listening to audiobooks, like I simply wasn't great at it, and now look at us, we're listening on 2 times speed and we're able to have a full like discussion about the nuances of the book, right? So I think there's so many things about it that make it more accessible to different kinds of people, and kind of satisfy some people that are more, they need more of like either visual or auditory like stimulation to really get involved in a story.
Yeah. 100%.
That's so true.
Yeah.
A couple of other cons for me are about the narration. So if you have a bad narrator, like that can ruin a book for me. Like it can completely ruin my experience reading a book. And it's also really like if you get stuck hearing the voices the way a narrator portrays them, it's really hard to unhear that. Even if especially if you switch from like audiobook to physical book, like reading their dialogue, you're gonna fall into those voices. And like what I think about there is like in Iron Flame, when it switches to Zayden's POV, and Zayden has the creepiest, actually maybe if that's the end of Fourth Wing, I don't know, but he has the creepiest, most stalker voice I've ever heard, and like I did not like it.
Kaylee. No, you're so right. I was literally thinking about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame too, because also like respect to the narrator, get your bag, it was awful. Like she did a bad job. Like the recording itself is bad quality, like, and it very close to like ruined the book for me, because I was listening through it mainly through audiobook. So it's like it really, you're putting a lot of trust into that narrator to like do your book right. And I think it's really tough for books that have like a lower budget or something like that, when they get someone that maybe isn't as experienced, or like a production company that doesn't have as good a quality, and then that impacts like how your readers feel about the book.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like when we talk about I think we've chatted about in other episodes before or just between us, but I think everyone visualizes characters so differently. And so we've talked before about, like, do you see a character in your head? Do you not? And so with audiobook, you're kind of taking like a leap of, one more step of that kind of characterization, taking the element of surprise away, right? Like, or just nothing. Like, I don't necessarily see characters in my head except for maybe like a distinguishing characteristic. So if it's done well, it's kind of cool because it takes me a step further than I probably normally go in terms of characterizing. But if it's done poorly, then I'm like, oh, I almost wish that it was just a bland, clean slate that I have in my head where I don't visualize anything. Like, I wish it was just like the random stick man rather than, the unexpected British accent for a completely unrelated character. So
I don't know why that haunts me so much, but it really does.
It just depends. It can be really good or really not. So
I didn't write this down, but I just thought of this. When the main character is like a female, but the narrator is a man, that also really bothers me. And vice versa. Like, I don't like when my main character is a man, but it's read by a woman. And I don't know, like, there's some kind of like mental disconnect for me there. Like, I don't care if it's in first, third, second person. I don't care. But like, I need my main character to be like of the same like tone as the narrator. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, or just like getting or like particularly like God forbid there's like a like spicy scene or something and you're through like an I don't know. POV just matters, You're like, is it hot or am I laughing? I can't tell. Like, what should I be doing here?
And now they have the graphic audiobooks too. Have you guys seen these?
I've heard of them.
Oh, nar.
A whole new genre where they're basically like acting. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's an interesting direction.
Yeah. I knew that they had like stories, like a separate, like, not really like regular audiobooks, but like story. Anyway, we don't have to get into this, but I didn't know that was like specific to like audiobooks. That's
It could be a pro.
That's news to me.
It could be a pro. Audience member,
it could be a pro.
It could be a pro for you.
For the right person, yeah.
Or it could be a con. Yeah.
Or it could be a con. I did hear one where it was actually Andrew Garfield reading like some kind of, I don't know, like literature type book. But he was like actively like weeping through a scene because it was like a traumatizing scene. And I was like, okay, slay. I don't know if I could like listen to this, but like, you go, girl.
I feel terrible because I thought you were saying that he did one of the voiceovers for like one of the spicy books. And I was like,
Unless.
Googling after this, but
Anyways,
it's the tea on audiobooks.
That's the tea on audiobooks. Now we can talk about the original That's Not a Real book format, which is ebooks. For me, this really started with a Nook, which I think they still exist, but that was Barnes & Noble's version of a Kindle until the Amazon Kindle came around and basically made them obsolete. I was a Nook like diehard for a while though, because I was, not like other girls and not a corporate sellout. And then now I am.
Not a corporate sellout from Barnes.
I had one of those. I had one of those Kindles with like with buttons, like with like a full keypad of like buttons. Those old Kindles that like you had to charge with like solar power to get them to like light up and like. Yeah, it was crazy.
Solar power is crazy.
I think maybe I'm making that up. Though. Maybe you just had to be in the light to like show them.
There definitely was that era because they also had that with like displays in general, like Game Boys and stuff. Some of them you had to be like in the light or you couldn't see it. Like I remember having to get one of those little like clip-on lights that shine directly onto your like Game Boy display so that you could freaking see it or whatever. Crazy. What a world we grew up in.
Kids these days will never know.
Yeah, Zoomers will
We've
never
seen it
understand. I think my favorite thing about ebooks is that it's like completely customizable to like your font preferences, what color you want the page to be, how big you want the font to be. I really like that you can switch between like time left in chapter, time left in book sort of a thing, because sometimes your girl is eepy.
Yes.
But I'm not like a quit before the chapter kind of girl, before the chapter ends kind of girl. So I need to know how many minutes before the chapter ends. So I really like all those things about it, and that you can make a cute case and, you know, that sort of stuff. That's my favorite thing.
And if they're waterproof, you can bring them in the bathtub.
Yeah, that's nice. Poolside.
That's a pro,
reading.
because I'm always
Poolside.
bringing my books in the bathtub and like splashing water on them. So
yeah, same. I've dropped one in the bath before, and it was very sad. So yeah, waterproof. I'm definitely here for that. I was gonna say too, like kind of the same way that it's great for being waterproof and like good for vacations and stuff like that. I love that you can have multiple books at one time, right? So that's great. It's great for magazines and stuff. Like if you're interested in kind of other things, like I know that at least with Kindle, there's a lot of like freebie kind of options for that. The Kindle app too, like on your phone or
underrated.
tablet, is underrated. Yeah, big fan, because you have like the color highlights and stuff too, and if you have any illustrations, you can actually see them in color. So that's a big dub, because like one of the only things that sometimes is sad with Kindle is like you get the highlighting feature and all that, but it's all black and white. But it's great. Yeah, it's just like you don't get to color coordinate. But yeah, I do love it on the app. Underrated. I agree.
Yeah, that is something that I like about the Kindle, is like being able to highlight and like type out notes without having like a stationary kit next to me where I'm gonna like overcook and be like, plot twists need to be orange and character development needs to be. It's like, it's not that deep, girl, but I make it that deep if I let myself go that path. So I kind of like the forced simplification of the ebook capabilities, but I hate seeing what other people have highlighted in a book. Don't tell me that 72 other readers highlighted this line. It's so stupid. It's never a good line. I'm always like, what the hell are you guys thinking? Like, what is going on? I hate it.
I put this as a pro though, because I'm nosy. I want to see what you guys think is. Let me see your deep quotes, babes.
I was gonna say that's a 4 Enneagrams worst nightmare. They do not want to know that other people have highlighted the same thing that they highlighted.
So true.
I want to see what kind of shit y'all think is just, you know, deep as shit, prophetic.
No, I hate it. And sometimes it spoils because people that have read it before go back and highlight like the seed planting. Get out of here, Stacy.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense now. Yeah. Don't go do that. Don't ruin it for everyone else.
Stop
Damn
it.
Yeah. Take a note in your app. Yeah, if you need to remember for book club, write it down in your damn notes app, okay?
Yeah,
don't do
literally.
That. I didn't realize you guys were using that to,
For violence.
Violence.
Yeah,
literally
for violence. Yeah, but I am nosy. So. Or like it'll be like character descriptions, and I'm like, what?
I'm like, you can't remember that he had hair black as night and like a 5 o'clock shadow. Really?
I'm like, we just assume, right? Like, come on, unless told differently, we all know what he looks like. It's insert fantasy boy here, like
like, we don't even need the cover art for that, baby girl. We know.
I'm here. I'm here for the chaos.
Yeah, I will say the other beef that I have with ebooks is like, and maybe this will get better as they become more popular, because I feel like they have been becoming more popular, but not everything like translates as well to ebooks as print, which seems like it shouldn't be real. But there are so many times that I feel like the formatting is just like neglected and it gets messed up, especially for like graphic novels. Like we read Heartstopper on the pod, and like it was all funky in the ebook version. And I don't know why that is, because like I used to read manga a lot when I was like a teen, just online on like shady websites, allegedly. And like I never had that problem. Like formatting was never messed up. It was never difficult to read, but like for some reason the ebook formats are just like scuffed on a lot of things. Like text messages trying to get printed on why is it always weird? Fix it.
Like forget it.
Ugh.
No, and one of my favorite books, Babel, that I've, we'll talk about whenever I get the chance. Like I first read it on Kindle, and I didn't realize until after I finished the book that I missed like a pivotal, almost like a whole second half of the story, because
Really?
they use kind of like footnotes and stuff to like tell a lot of the history, and they have kind of like a really creative use of footnotes. And when I tell y'all, I didn't realize like I missed half the damn book. Like I had to kind of go back and read it because you understand it all pretty differently. So yeah,
that's crazy.
I do have beef with the formatting. I'll always have beef because of that. Yeah, huge. So I'd forgotten about Heartstopper though too. You're right. That was also a not great adaptation.
I felt wronged.
Yeah.
I felt wronged.
It's true.
Yeah. The other thing about ebooks is like it's the opposite problem as audiobooks, where it's like audiobooks I know how to say it but not spell it, but ebooks, which is the same as physical, like I don't know how to say anything. I feel like we see that all the time with Kaylee, because she always, when we're prepping like our episode notes, she's always like, how do you say like where they live? And Abby and I are always like, oh, it's blah blah blah, like whatever fantasy word. But like it's so funny because Kaylee always knows how to spell things, but I don't.
We work together though, because I feel like at any given recording, it's like one of us has heard it somehow.
Yeah.
So we just we work together to put our brain cell together of like, okay, guys, let's be accurate here. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of to the formatting point, actually, but one final con that I had is like, even though the price is typically lower, it's cheaper. Depending on the experience, it's not always like that much better, I guess, or not always worth it. Like, or for something like Heartstopper, I need to go back and look and see how much the Kindle version costs, because genuinely, like, if it's more than,
it's like
I don't know, if I didn't save
$9 or something, it was like $10 a piece.
Okay, because I'm like, is it even worth it at that point? Like, just buy the physical copy, you know? So there has to be a reasonable price difference there to where it's like worth it.
It is crazy, and like too specifically for Heartstopper, like graphic novels are crazy expensive because they're such like a short piece of the story. Yeah. So that's like a whole separate conversation. But like you're right, like half the time the ebooks are the same damn price as the paperback, and I'm like, I mean, I still want an ebook, but like, why am I paying for material costs that you don't have? Like, it's so annoying. Ugh.
Yeah. Like, make it worth our while. Yeah.
Especially because at least for audiobooks, I'm like, okay, you had to pay like a narrator to do something. But like the ebook, I'm like, bitch, the author sent you it that way. Like, you didn't have to do anything.
So here's the PDF.
Right.
Yeah. Like, here's the Word doc. Yeah. And it's like you're adapting it to that screen. Like, I understand that. But beyond that, woo, it's easier. I don't know. And then, okay, so we have our audiobooks, we have our ebooks, and then, of course, we have our physical books.
Yep.
The classic, can't go wrong. I think we can all agree that there is something special about a physical book, but that doesn't mean they're the best in every category. So, pros, cracking the spine. I mean, anyways.
Nope.
It's a no for me, dog.
You get to hold it, and by hold it, I mean you get to break it and
that's so funny.
Abuse it. And...
Abby, what was your other book hot take? Like the other book hot take
that you have? I break the spine, or I don't try to avoid breaking the spine, and then I also dog ear.
Yeah, she's
dog ear. I forgot about the dog earing.
Yeah.
She hates.
Yeah,
books.
how else might I hear? Yeah, actually, I hate books. Podcast.
Yeah.
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 Get to
enough.
Some other pros for me, the smell and how cozy they are. Like just curling up under your blanket with an audiobook doesn't hit as well as like curling up under your blanket with like a physical book with like a pretty cover and like it just feels nice. Like it's just nice and cozy.
Yeah, obviously like the bookshelf aesthetic, like you don't get that without a physical book. Like you can't have the beautiful bookshelf or the beautiful book background with like just your Kindle hanging up on the wall. Like it does not work the same.
Yeah.
But for me, they simply are not like an option, especially with like the unwieldy ass books that we tend to read. Like my carpal tunnel prevents me from holding a book in one position or even many positions for like an extended period of time. So I don't know. It's just like the longer type of books that you read, like when I see the physical copy of what is the book that you guys love so much?
Priority.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god. At least like with a Kindle book, this is a pro and a con, but like you can't tell really how long the book is. Like it gives you the hours or whatever, but like you can kind of like be delulu about it and be like, this is a normal size book. But like when you're holding it, oh my god, it's intimidating. It's satisfying when you finish it, you see your progress, but like, good god.
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I think for Priority and like books of that size, I want to say, or maybe it wasn't Priority, but another book that I read that was kind of a big boy like that. Like, if it's on Kindle Unlimited, which I forgot to mention is like, Unlimited is definitely not perfect, but it can be fun. But like if I can get it on Unlimited and then get the physical copy too, that's such a dub, because then if it's like a big book that I know I want to commit to, then I do get them both at the same time. So then I can, depending on my mood, like, do I need to escape and pretend I don't know how long this book is? Or do I want to like feel and see the progress? So yeah, but they can get annoying.
It's very that. And I will say you usually get like the most consistent, best quality formatting in a physical book, and you get like the fun things like sprayed edges or like art on the edges and that kind of thing, which you don't get. I mean, even if you get a special cover for like an ebook or something, you never get to see it. I never know the covers because you see it for 2 seconds and then you're in the book. So it's like a lot of the times I don't look at the cover again until I'm done and I'm like sent back to the home page on like an ebook or audiobook. So
yeah. And it makes me think too, like another pro that I forgot to mention was that I think there's still something about being able to grab like a book too. Like if we're talking and you're like, oh shit, like there's this funny quote. And I guess, you know, if you remember what chapter it's in, you could just do that on Kindle or whatever. But I don't know. There's still times like I have all my copies, of course, of all my Twilight books. And listen, sometimes I just want to reminisce. I just want to be thrown back into middle school and be like, I just need a moment with this one scene from Eclipse.
With me and Edward.
And so I can just grab my little copy, just me and Edward, and then read my little scene and get my fill and be like, yes, okay. And then I put it back on the shelf. So for grabbing a quick quote or something like that, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's way easier to remember like where something is on the page in a physical book, like left or right, top, bottom, you know, and like find it than like in an ebook. I'm like, if I haven't highlighted
I have no idea.
And like don't even audiobook, I'm lost. I don't even know what chapter I'm in
now. Oh, no way. Yeah.
It's over.
With audiobook, you could tell me like what it could literally be like, is it in the first or second half of the book? And I'd be like, I have no idea. I just dove in. I have no idea.
Yeah. I will say, now that I think about it, that is something that's different for me, audiobook to the other two options, because I am like I will finish the chapter girly, but with audiobook, it's all one big thing to me. So I'll pause at any moment and then like whenever I go back to it, I'll rewind like 15 seconds. But I didn't even put that together until now. But yeah, audiobook is like one solid thing for me. So it doesn't, there are no chapters.
Yeah. No. No, the format's very different for sure.
The only con that I had for physical books was that, like, you can't really travel with, I mean, you can travel with them, but, like, it's annoying. They get, like, creased and bent, and the corners get bent, even though if you're Abby, you like that. And
it's a pro.
It's not fun.
I feel like my issue with traveling with them is, like, it's so much of a commitment to take a book on vacation that like if I start reading it and I don't like it, it's like I still have that book. Or what if I read it in like one night? Then I still have that book and I can't, like, I'm gonna have to go to the freaking airport and buy another one. Like, hello? I don't know.
Right. Like, bring your Kindle or whatever, and you just flip flop, mood read, see what the vibes are.
Right.
This does make me, though, like, something I miss is I haven't had one recently, but I need to get a book in this format. I love the little, like, mini paperbacks. Like that they would have like classics and stuff like that in, or I think this is also the kind of format they'll use for like a lot of thrillers and stuff like that, just like the little like ones they'll sell to airport, I think, because they're nice and compact. I do love those. I wish they would have more of those. If you have a baby paperback that you recommend, let me know, because that'd be great for the pool. Yeah, just a little baby paperback to put in my purse. It could fit in a bagoo. That could be for the bagoo girls. She could fit in a bagoo.
No, literally.
But priorities. Oh, bagoo! It's for the gworlies. It's like a popular bag brand, and it's like Hermione's bag in that it fits so much. It contains multitudes, and it doesn't look that big.
That's cute.
Yeah, you could put a little. You can't put priori in your bagoo, or maybe you can.
Maybe
let us know.
Mini version. It'll just be.
Maybe I'll test that.
Yeah, it'll be like.
Maybe that'll be it. We'll do what it's in my bag, and I'll let you know if priori will fit. We'll see.
You should do one, Abby, where it's like a bagoo, but you just keep pulling things out that are like definitely like it's edited so that it looks like they're coming out of the bagoo, but like definitely could not fit. And it's like priory, and then like
stay tuned for next week. Okay, but genuinely, I want to see if like my Kindle and my annotation stuff and like priori can fit in there, and a book light. We'll do a book haul. We'll see.
Sister.
Book haul. What fits in the bagoo?
All right. Yeah. Well, if everyone has said their piece, we had a full showdown. Okay. I don't know that we had a winner because we're all just lovers. We're just lovers here. We're not fighters. We're not haters. We've never been.
We're not
haters.
hating.
Yeah. We're book format equalists here. There's a book format for everyone, and that's our stance. And they're all books.
We're bringing more positive energy to this episode than like
any other episode.
Any of the previous 19 that we've had.
We just love books.
We love books. We love reading. I'm still gonna, if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm still gonna say I'm reading the book.
Damn right.
Enough is enough. That's all the tea that we have on the book format showdown. Next time, we're going to be spilling the tea on Funny Story by Emily Henry, which was surprisingly not that funny. So please tune in. It's a very interesting conversation, and we're definitely not haters. Just remember, we're lovers around here, okay? We're all in good spirits, all right? Cool. Okay.
Actually not funny now.
It's actually not funny. It's kind of funny how not funny it is the thing. That's the bit. That's what Emily Henry intended.
That's the bit.
Mm-hmm. You can also stay up to date with the latest tea on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube by following us at Spill the Novel Tea on all of the things. And while you're there, please let us know, what is your hyper-specific pet peeve about book formats that keeps you up at night? We need to know. What do you have beef? Why do you hate audiobooks? Tell me. Someone give me a reason.
Yeah. Get it off your chest and
That's
get
right.
over it.
This is a safe space,
get over
surely. Okay, we will see you next time.
It is not a safe space. Okay.
Oh.
Bye.
Oh.
Bye.